Alrighty, here we are, long-awaited podcast episode. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me for yet another episode of Zayy After Dark. I appreciate y'all for always coming back. I'm your host, Zayy, and I got another special guest with me today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Danny.
This is Danny right here. For anybody who doesn't know, this is my coworker. We work together on a pretty often basis,
Yeah.
I've been trying to get him on here for a while because I think he could share some good insight with y'all. So before we even get into this, I want to ask you real quick, just to tell them some things about yourself, just so they get a better understanding of who you are as a person, what you do, anything like that. Anything you want to share.
All right. I guess, well, as he said, I'm a coworker of his, so I work at Little Caesars a lot. I'm in college right now. I go to Trident. I like wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, you be wearing the soul out of them Hawaiian shirts. You look good.
Thanks.
Came here looking pretty spliffy.
And then I do care a lot about my girlfriend. She takes up most of my time.
Shout out to you. So, as we like to do on this episode, or at least this podcast, inside of my podcast, we like to ask a quote that you love, just to get us started, start us off with some conversation. What's a quote that you heard or that you love that resonates with you, and what does it mean to you?
So I want to say it's a quote by Dave Ramsey. I don't remember if he was quoting someone else or not, but I'm like 80% sure it was his quote. He said, if you want to live you got to live like no one else to live like no one else.
Okay. What does that mean to you?
Which is, you got to spend time now not living like the people. Like, you got to, don't live your life based on the others around you. So, like, if you see other people, they're like, they get their paycheck, they spend their money on whatever fun stuff they want.
Hell yeah, the partying and all that.
No, you gotta just have a little bit to spend on whatever, and then save a lot of it for later, which is, so you live like no one else. So then later you can live like no one else.
Okay.
So then later on, you got your dream life. They don't. They're still working and
still suffering,
living paycheck to paycheck, mountains in debt, stuff like that.
So, whenever you heard that quote, right, did that cause any changes in your life? Like, did it make you say, you know what, I need to start doing this differently or things like that? Did it have any big effects on you?
Immediately, no. It was just something that I thought about, kind of. It wasn't something I really acted upon at that time when I heard it, but it has resonated with me. And as I've moved forward, because I heard this back in high school, as I've gotten into college and started working, getting paychecks and stuff like that, then it started to resonate with me. Okay. And it's starting to kind of shape how I do things in a way.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. That quote, I've heard similar quotes to that, but never heard it put that way. For me, I remember hearing a quote recently, and it was basically saying how it was not really similar, but in some way it is. It's kind of it was something about work ethic, I guess. But the wording was similar. It was kind of saying how you do anything is how you do everything. So it's kind of similar structure of the quotes, just with different meanings. And basically what I took from that was put in your best effort for anything you do. That's simple as put. So I like that quote right there. Now, you mentioned you were a student. What's that like?
Well, I'm at Trident, so it's a community college, so it's not like a big university like USC or anything. So you're not going to hear about crazy party stories or football games. It's mainly you go to class and you do the class.
So pretty simple, nothing too extreme.
Yeah.
Now, I do commend you a lot for the way you're able to balance it all. Having work, school, relationship, that's a lot of responsibility. That's 3 things that take a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
Now, anybody who knows, I am a high school dropout, so I did not make it through high school. But so I do commend you for That for sure. How do you think you're able to balance it all?
Well, you got to structure it sort of importance. I like to think of it as which shapes my future the most. That's what's the most important. So, believe it or not, work is third in priority to those.
No, that makes sense.
So, like going to school, that's gonna shape like career. It's in a way the most important in terms of because that's what's gonna get me to where I can get money and like provide, get a house and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Then relationship is a really really close second because that's going to determine well my happiness. if I get kids or not, stuff like that. And then after that's work because it's just we work at Little Caesars. It's not exactly the most high end job, so I mean I go there, I put in effort, and I like to get money, but school and girlfriend comes first.
Yeah, way more important. I agree with that. Do you feel like I always said that having a man can't reach that potential, the full potential he's meant to be without a good woman by his side. Like I've always felt strongly about a good woman and with a man makes him so much more powerful. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about that? Like what have you gained or anything as far as having a good woman by your side?
Well, ever since so she's almost restructured my life in a way. Um, for starters, so I met her back when so I had a knee issue last year, and I ended up having to get surgery for it. But here's the scar. Y'all can see that, I guess.
Pretty badass. You asked me.
But so I met her, or we started talking and dating a little before my surgery, and she was able to be there with me through the surgery. Well, not actually there, but I was able to talk to her, and she would come by and visit, and I think that made the recovery time go down a lot because before her, I didn't have too much motivation. Mm-hmm. It would be just kind of I go to work and I go to school kind of because I have to, and I just come home and play video games, and I probably would just sat there enjoying not doing either of those while my leg hurts. Yeah. But no, she urged me to like recover faster so I could go out and do things with her. Right. But then on top of that, she's encouraged me to like save more because now I'm in the mentality of it's not just my money. One day it could end up being hers. And so my actions now aren't just been like impacting me. Okay. They're impacting another human. Right. So that has also like influenced that kind of decision process. Can I get water?
Yeah, I got you.
Shout out to Dalton.
So what were we talking about again?
Was you asked me about every man needs a like good woman at his side so he can be the best.
Yeah. So have you noticed any like changes besides like any changes that you made like physically to your life? Any changes mentally or emotionally you went through?
I've been a lot happier since that. So I, as you may know, I have sort of a different view on relationships than most people. Mm-hmm. It's like similar to you, but also different. Like you got a different view than most people.
And that's why I'm glad I have you on here because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about for sure. Because you mentioned in one of my episodes that I had dropped about the love episode. Yeah. So I like to get your opinions, but go ahead and finish what you were saying.
But yeah, like I've been much happier because every day I wake up with a smile. First thing I do when I wake up, my eyes open, I grab my phone, text her good morning, and then pretty soon I get a response back, mm-hmm. and then with that, it's like every day I go in knowing I'm appreciated,
Yeah.
and so that it's a big source of motivation to do. But yeah, I've just been a genuinely a lot happier person since then.
That's a
So,
beautiful thing. People, I try to stress how like strong of a presence that we can possess as people. Like
mm-hmm.
you guys, if y'all watching my videos, I try to tell y'all have a gift. Like you have something in you that is meant to be shared with the world. Don't be selfish and get out and share that with people. Don't keep it to yourself because it's in a way selfish. You got something that probably could help somebody or anything. Share your gift with the world. We all could use it. We all could use it. Now, so you watched the love episode. I'm not sure if you remember a lot of things I talked about, but was there anything in that episode that specifically caught your attention that you wanted to discuss with me or debate about?
So one of the ones that I do remember. So it was a while. We watched the night it dropped,
Okay.
but one of the things that did stick out was you said love was
Should it be
not,
unconditional?
yeah, that. So real quick, can you explain what you mean by that?
Okay, so but real quick, I want to tell you and I want to tell them before I made this episode, right? Probably like a while before I made it, honestly, because when I make these episodes, they're not like just okay, sit down, I need a video. It's more like these are things I think about on a consistent basis. Like writing is one of my daily. I do that daily. You see
Mm-hmm.
all the papers I got over there and shit like that. So prior to making the video, I texted a lot of people and I was like, "How do you feel about unconditional love?" Because it's something I was talking about with my buddies. So
Yeah.
we were all discussing unconditional love and should love be unconditional. Pretty much everybody disagreed with me, which fair. I expected them to. Now the reason why I said love shouldn't be unconditional, or not that it shouldn't, but rather I didn't see it as a possibility
Mm-hmm.
for it to be unconditional. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, when I think unconditional, I'm thinking, okay, you love someone under any circumstances at the
Okay.
basis of it. Now, the definition that you think of will ultimately, decide what your response is to it. But
Mm-hmm.
that being my definition, I was like, truthfully, can you can love someone, right? But can you love someone unconditionally and be with them unconditionally under any circumstances, right? So let's say I'm with a woman, I love her, she loves me, we're doing great, whatever. But I said in the video as well, like let's say I'm trying to do something in my life, I have goals and ambitions, and she is, has no goals, no ambition, no outlook for the future. And even though I try, there's only so much you could do as a person. I
Yeah.
always say you can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. So if she just has no ambition for the future, that energy is what's the word? Contagious. That energy is contagious.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something you want to be around. You don't want to. If you have goals, you don't want to surround yourself by people that have zero ambition. So I was saying, in that case, though I loved her, I can't say that I would be able to stay with her. So was it really unconditional? Was I loving her under any circumstances?
Yeah.
That's basically what I meant by it.
So under that definition, I 100% agree with you.
So what were you thinking when you heard it?
So I mean, it's kind of something similar. It was like I don't think there's only a few kind of loves because there's different kind of loves.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like you can all like most people will say they're like their love for their children's unconditional, which like makes sense.
That's what I said. Like the typically your unconditional love is usually like for like a mother or any
Yeah,
type of parent figure.
but if we're focusing just on like a relationship, no, it's 100% conditional. No, if you like, there's so many things that a person can do to like hurt you. Besides, like, so one of my views is like, if someone's a boyfriend or girlfriend, that's not the same as marriage.
Mm-mm.
It's not a permanent thing. So it's like a marriage things work a little bit different for this definition, in my opinion. But if you're just a boyfriend and girlfriend, they can easily do something to make you not like them as much anymore.
Yeah.
Like, say you've just been on like 3 dates, and then all of a sudden you find out. I don't know what's something you find out.
What's something you find out after
like
3 dates?
like they're cheating, or you're the he already has a girlfriend or something like that. It's like, all right, you're just well, I personally would leave him.
yeah, get on.
No, like I feel like love in this sort of state is like not just something you go ahead and throw yourself at and say, oh my goodness, I love this person. No, it's got to be something that has to be like maintained and like found out about. Like it has to be formed, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think like nobody loves anyone before they're together.
Yeah.
Or so you're a crazy person.
A lot of people think they say
But
they fell in love at first sight. You believe in that?
no,
No, me
no.
neither.
You can think someone's beautiful, want to be with them. But it's like you see the memes about like the guy dreaming about the person they saw at the airport.
Oh yeah, like what, bro? You know what ones I hate? I hate on TikTok when they be like the girl will be right there and then he'll record her and be like, TikTok, help me find her. What? Listen, I don't get it. But I mean, I just as much the next guy. I look at women, I think they're beautiful, but never
But
have.
that's different.
Yeah, never have I ever thought, damn, I need to be with you. Like that's kind of crazy. Unless there's some kind of connection, but you won't find it out unless you meet them. But I also feel like love, love in that state, that relationship that you're talking about, that boyfriend girlfriend. I feel like it's so fragile because it's like you got to be careful, and a lot of people don't realize how much effort you really got to put in that state. Now you're gonna have to put in effort regardless whether you be married or boyfriend and girlfriend, but there's so much you gotta maintain and learn, and you gotta be willing to really commit. Like that's actually a commitment. Like it's damn near like you putting in the effort to try to go pro in a sport. That's the only way you're gonna get a good relationship is if you both put in that effort. But some people don't put it in.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Now, real quick, I want to ask. I'm not. Anybody who knows me knows I'm not really like I've never been in too many relationships.
Yeah.
That was never my thing. Not saying I'm like a player or anything, but I never been in too many relationships. So I know relationships obviously have their ups and downs, and I'm not asking you to share any of yours, but if any of those situations were to approach or have they ever approached, how do y'all normally get over it?
What do you mean?
So let's say y'all have a disagreement about something, or one or another gets upset about any specific occasion, just anything. If y'all ever had any like back and forth to where maybe you didn't like something, she didn't like something, whatever the case would have been, how do y'all normally get over those problems?
So, despite what a lot of people do, this actually is the easiest solution. Talk it out.
Right.
It If it's some silly, stupid thing and y'all actually love each other, y'all should just be able to talk it out and get through it.
Yeah.
That's what we do anytime we have a disagreement about something. But like we'll see people like you'll hear about someone like they'll do something and they'll just sit there and they're like the annoyance will just boil up into anger, and then they'll just explode and then it'll turn into a fight. So what's the point of that?
Right.
Just if something is upsetting you, just talk about it. That's what we do. And then also another thing you have to do in a relationship is compromise.
Okay.
Everything cannot be one person's way. And then you also have to accept, like, it's not just, all right, we'll meet in the middle on everything. There are some issues that one person cares more about than the other. Like, say you move in with your special someone, and say you're picking out how you like bread, how it's stored in the closet or so.
Yeah.
So this is one we talked about. So she keeps her bread in her pantry. We have our bread in our fridge, and she thought it was so foreign that our bread was cold. And then, so that's something in the future we'll have to decide on
Yeah.
where the bread goes. But and that's not something I super care about. And if she cares immensely that the bread must be in the pantry, then I'll just say, all right, I can go in the pantry. There doesn't have to be a 50-50 on
Yeah.
something like that. But now a different one. So she loves animals.
Okay.
And she wants a million cats.
Right.
And I said, we don't need a million cats. So we cut a little compromise.
Right.
Because I want children. She also wants children, but I think I want a little more than her. So we made a little deal, and it was for every kid you give me, we could have a pet.
Okay.
So whatever we move in together, she has a cat that her parents are making her take with her. So that'll be, she gets that first freebie.
Okay, just a pass.
But no other pet till I get a kid.
Okay, that's an interesting compromise right there. Now,
But we agreed on it. But I hope that kind of answers your question. I don't know. I kind of went off topic a
no,
little
it
bit.
does. It does. Everything's on topic. You know, we're just chilling. Back to what you said about the, the 50-50s and the back and forths or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like pride has a lot to do with it. Like in a lot of cases, nobody wants to lose an argument. A lot of times, well, it's like it takes some growing up before you can accept like you can't win them all and you won't win them all.
No.
So a lot of people, especially younger people, this is why I tend to attempt to when I do talk to females, I tend to try to talk to a little bit older females, at least ones that are mature enough to understand these different things. Because it's just I've been around the childish for so long, man. The childish, it doesn't change. Like it's so people don't change. I don't get it. People are still super childish. Now,
That's man, I know.
yeah. When do you feel like you matured? What was like the turning point of your maturity?
So I listened to a fair bit of podcasts. Probably not the ones I'd recommend lightly.
Right. What was like the topics of it?
Well, a lot of them are they're so they're with Daily Wire, which is a political kind of group or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like they're a news source that mainly does politics, but the specific podcasts I listen to, they'll talk about. Oh, sorry about that. They'll talk about things such as so I like the main guy I like to listen to. His name is Michael Knowles, so he'll talk some political stuff. Mm-hmm. But he'll also he incorporates a lot of the Bible in whatever he's speaking about. Okay. Especially whenever he's talking about a story that has to do anything with love or relationship. And so hearing them, these grown people, tell me like this is how the Bible has it, and like take a look at like happier people. This is how they do, and stuff like that. I don't know if this is answering it.
No, you good. I get what you're saying. So
I want to say it was about it would have been my high school. It would have been a little before COVID is when I really started to mature a good bit.
That's about the same time for me. It was right before COVID, like probably about somewhere around the end of 8th grade, where I was like, yeah, we gotta start working on some stuff.
Yeah.
About when I was like 14, 15, somewhere around there. Those people, those podcast people, I'm guessing they gave you a lot of good point of views and stuff like that. Do you ever wish you took any of it with a grain of salt?
Um,
Or do you feel like they're pretty clear and
I think it's been pretty clear for me at least. I'm able to discern what I should and should not do pretty pretty easily in terms of gaining advice from people.
yeah? So looking back, then before that time of maturity, what some things that you look back and you're like, I'm sure you know about the no regrets because you can't change the past and stuff like that. But
Mm.
looking back, what's some things that you wish you just would have caught up on quicker, or some things you wish you weren't doing back then? Just anything that you would have changed when you were younger if you could have. I'll start with me
Yeah,
if you want to think for a second.
yeah. Let's do that.
So for starters, when I was younger, I had my. I'm sure like a lot of us did. I had my priorities all messed up, and really the simple answer, looking back, if I could guess, was simply just the references I had and like social media and things like that. I had the wrong things, like for example, I thought I wanted to be to have I thought I wanted to be rich. I thought I wanted to just have, a lot of women around me and things like that because this is what was glorified, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what people looked up to. Of course I wanted to be that figure, but then I had to understand, and through my recent journey of self-improvement, I'm super big on that. I've learned that everybody has a different success. Everybody has a different idea of success.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's like some destiny story, because personally, I don't believe in like having a specific destiny. I
Yeah.
think you have a pretty fair amount of control over where you end up. But so I had to learn what my success was. What was success in my eyes? Like, and I realized that that's not what I wanted. I didn't want the expensive cars and the mansions and women around me. That wasn't my success story. So I wish I would have picked up on that much earlier and wasn't trying to chase the success that other people were showcasing, because it
Yeah.
just made me like it took away a lot of my happiness in the end. Like even if I would have made it to that point, I would have had that, but I wouldn't have had happiness or the success within me. So I wish I would have picked up on that quicker.
I'm glad I at least figured out when I did. Being earlier would have been nicer, but
Yeah.
I think one of maybe the biggest thing growing up, or I wish I would have done, is actually focusing more on the future instead of just wishing I was a kid forever.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of because I want to say honestly till my senior year, maybe a little bit of my junior year, I just would go to school, come home, and do with friends and play video games. That's essentially all I would do.
Yeah.
And I put almost no thought into the future. I was like, everything will just happen.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. Like that's kind of how, because I was just surrounded by a lot of people that didn't really make it anywhere far. Just people that just accepted that they had 9 to 5s and couldn't pay bills. So it's like I never
Mm-hmm.
had like a image to look up to as far as reaching or looking toward the future. I did not grow up around ambitious people at all. And like I said, that energy is all contagious, which sucks. But I'm glad you were able to break out of that and decide to start thinking about your future.
Mm-hmm.
That's always an important turning point. So, what is like? I'm not sure if you thought about this before, but what does success look like to you? What do you think is like? Okay, where can you say I'm here? I've done everything I wanted to do. Like I feel fully accomplished. What does your life look like at that
For
point
me or in general?
for you?
For me, I feel I've reached success whenever I'm retired and hopefully can have grandkids because I see grandparents. I'm like, that looks fun.
Yeah.
No work, have grandkids. You gotta have a decent retirement. I don't want to work till I'm, like a good bit into my 60s. I want to retire sometime before then, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a paid off house. Doesn't need to be anything super fancy. I don't need a mansion.
Yeah, I agree.
Even a small house would be fine with me. That's not something I care too much about. Um, I don't know. I'm not too picky. in terms of how I want success to be, as long as I'm happy.
Is that different from what it used to be? Like thinking back.
Yeah, well, thinking back, would have been a kid thinking, man, I'm gonna have millions. I'm gonna be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Wait till I post my Happy Wheel videos.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We did all have those thoughts before, man. I thought, when I was younger, I had a lot of crazy thoughts when I was younger. You got like, I mean, I'm sure you can tell just by looking around. I've been a hobby hopper my entire life. I've went from one thing to the next. So I mean, at some point, I wanted to be a construction worker. I thought that was the holy grail for me. Then I wanted to be a professional boxer at some point. Just, I got the boxing gloves down there somewhere on the other side. Everybody then went through the YouTuber phase. Thought I was gonna be a YouTuber. I
You
don't went through it
are.
all. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't went through it all. I didn't went through it all really. Real quick, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So I want to. I give a lot of advice, or not always advice, but I try to give people an insight of my mind to have them understand how I think about things. I don't try to give people advice because I'm not perfect. I stated in one of my videos, I'm not a master philosopher. I'm not trying to like tell you things like as if I have it all figured out. I'm just telling you how I choose to figure things out. So, that being said, do you have any advice on people that want to or have certain goals? What's some advice just in different aspects as far as like, you know, staying motivated or just coming up with a plan or anything that has to do with reaching goals? What's some advice to help you out over your journey?
So, I think the biggest one that I've had to realize, and I think others may have to as well, is you do have to have patience. That is a really important thing because early on, I would like try something, and if I wasn't any good at it, I was like, "Well, this is just stupid.
I
I'm
do the
not doing
same thing.
that." Like, I think a good example of that. I don't know. I don't have a basketball reference for you, so I'll do.
We know we love the basketball references. I got those for days, man.
I've heard in the Smash Bros. The video game. I suck at it, and I have instead of saying, let's get better at it. No, that game's stupid.
That game's stupid.
No, and anybody who plays is stupid. But patience is a big one because if you do have the patience, you can get good at most things.
All right.
But like even one of the ones I had to do was the gym. I've been slacking off recently, but I'm gonna start going back. But a few months ago, I started picking up the gym. I went there for the first time. I was like, well, that guy's lifting more. Something's wrong. So you can't expect immediate results in things.
That's true. That was one of my big problems too. I kind of relate to you on that. Like, I being that I jump from different hobbies to hobbies, you can imagine how quick I drop them. So patience never been one of my strong suits. Definitely grown on it over the years, but what you said is definitely true. Patience, because you know you can't expect immediate results with anything. If I were to go into playing the piano thinking I was gonna be able to play for at least after 2 days, I might as well just throw it away because it's not gonna happen. That's gonna take probably years of practice. But you have to be willing. If you love it as much as you say you do, you have to be willing to put in the time. That's just with anything. If you want to be a YouTuber, you're gonna have videos that don't do so hot. It's gonna happen, but stay consistent and be patient. And when that day comes where you have that video that blows, now you might be up after that, depending on how you decide to do with it. Now, on top of that, we're talking about like just Smash Bros or the gym, like not seeing other people and be better at it and then giving up on it. I was actually about to film a video. I have a video coming out soon. I don't know which one's gonna be out first, but a video about failure. I just had planted up yesterday is basically talking about how failure is an ally. And
Mm-hmm.
I will go deeper in depth about it in the video, but I do want to talk about it a little bit just to get your opinions on it. Because I I learned I had to learn through experience that how good failure really is for you in some sense. It depends on what you do with it.
Yeah.
And I discussed this a little bit in my hard work does not equal success video and even my self-discipline video, but failure could be a powerful tool if you know how to use it the right way. But if you allow failure to just be failure, then it's bad. Have you had any like experiences where you learned that failure was like a good thing, like how to embrace failure?
The I don't know. Remember we went bowling,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't do so hot. Other than certain someone trash talking me the whole game. I was doing bottom of the board, but trying so I've that's made me want to get better at it for the next time I go out with friends. Now I'm bowling over 100 every game, so that's a good one. But another one, I know I keep circling back to this kind of topic, but it's one of the few ones I barely know, was like rejection if you ask someone out. Like that's a very relatable sense of failure.
We're back.
Yeah.
Back
So
to the topic.
yeah, so like the idea of rejection,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very relatable sense of failure a lot of us have experienced.
I agree.
And you can't like say you see the pretty girl and you ask for her number, you ask to hang out, something like that, and she goes, no.
Yeah.
You gotta you can't just spiral into some sort of self-loathing, disappointing, just negative state after that. Like, oh, I'm ugly. Nobody likes me. I'm so undateable. Stuff like
And I've
that.
seen it. I've seen it. It's a real
No,
thing.
you gotta get past it. There's different ways to do it. I just accept. Okay. Oh well. Which I know not everyone could do, but you just remember, like, a good bit of the time, it isn't you. It's the other person
I
that
was
you
just
could.
about to say that.
But like, not all failure is your fault. Now, I'm not saying every time you fail, blame it on something else,
Right.
because that's another problem people have. But there is a spot in the middle. You got to understand, not all failure is your fault, but then there is failure that is your fault. Because if you sit there and ask out like 30 different people and all of them say no, then
Something's
you
wrong.
gotta pick up some sort of clue there.
Yeah. So you want another one?
Yeah.
Whatchamacallit? I think one of the biggest things that people need to learn that some people know, but they don't want to understand. Like, you know how you kind of don't want to accept the truth.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the biggest part when it comes to failure, rejection, anything like that, you gotta know that there's a reason for everything. Things don't just like, as far as failing, failure doesn't just happen because it happened. There's always a reason. Whether the reason is out of your control or not, there's always a reason. So let's say for rejection, maybe you the way you approached her wasn't the most settling. Maybe you came off a little strong and she was a little startled. That's the reason you failed, but you have to be able to stay calm and realize that. Like, take the time to realize it. You can't just be like, man, she said no, she doesn't like. If you do all that, then you're never gonna get to the bottom of it. Or
Yeah.
let's say I upload a video and it doesn't do so hot. There's a reason for it. Maybe the time I uploaded it wasn't the best time to upload it. Maybe the title wasn't eye catching enough, or wasn't a high search engine thing. Um, just different things. There's always a reason why something happens or doesn't happen. A lot of people. One thing I try to explain to people is like, you can't just blame or use your beliefs as an excuse. Like you ever heard someone like who believes in God, or they say they do, and then something doesn't work out for them, and they say it just wasn't meant to happen, and they just give up on it immediately, which is like, I don't believe that's a real thing. There's no such thing as it wasn't meant to happen. If I go out right now and I want to, say I want to lose weight, I want to get 6-pack abs, and it's like I keep going back to the bad foods, and I can't get myself to exercise, and I just sit here like, you know what, maybe God doesn't want me to be slim. Maybe this slim thing isn't for me.
Yeah,
that's a thing. That doesn't make any sense to me. So you gotta be able to hold yourself accountable and be real with yourself. But failure really is a good thing if you allow it to be. But I'm gonna get deeper into that in another video. Now, this episode's already getting pretty long. I do have a question for you, and anything you wanna ask me or say to people, I will allow you to say before we end it.
All right.
One more question I have for you. What is something that you, like, a belief that you have, or just anything that you wish you could get out to the world, like a strong message that you feel like if everybody understood, life would be so much simpler? I'll allow you to take your time on this because I know this is a big question.
Quite the big question. I would say a big one, and it applies to so many aspects of life, would be you have to think about how your actions affect others. And I know it's a really simple one, but like, think about it. Like, say you spend all your money on something stupid. Well, if like, or say if we plan to film, so we film this in the morning. Say I decided, I think I'm just gonna sleep in. Well, that lets me benefit, but like I get more sleep, but that affects you, right? Because you don't get this episode filled, and you had planned space in the day for you to do this, which then affects the people watching because they're expecting certain videos, and if they're not released because it didn't get filmed, then that or like say where you if you call out a shift at work, I mean, you're sitting there, I get my time now to do whatever. Well, the people at work don't just magically have that job done that you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's now they have to do their work plus yours, depending on your job. Because, I mean, if you're depending on other people at the job, then it does affect. But if you have like a office job where every day each person has to do something. But yeah, people need to think about how their actions affect others, in a sense of, is what you're doing negatively impacting someone else now or down the line?
Right.
Especially if it's people you care about.
So that's something you're supposed to think about, like, before you do whatever you're about to do. Like, you say, okay, how can it affect others?
It is depending on what, like, if it's a small thing, it's like, I don't know if this is gonna sound bad or not, but like, if I see like a piece of trash on the floor, like outside,
yeah,
someone else could do that. But it's like calling out work, or like if I decide, like if we say me, you, and 2 other people are gonna go out bowling, and I decide, nah, I need to max out my battle pass. So that throws things off for the plans. Y'all could be waiting for me, so that could delay things potentially, especially if I don't give you a heads up. Then it could have been like a 2v2 kind of situation. Now we have to like change how we were gonna have fun. and just stuff like that.
Being that you
Um,
say that, it makes sense now that like whenever we try to make plans or anything like that, I noticed that you're really like you don't want to make any plans unless you're absolutely certain you can make them. And so
mm,
now that you explain that, I definitely understand why you do that. So that is, I appreciate that.
well,
That's
yeah, one of the biggest things that aggravate me, and it's the easiest way for me to dislike a person, is if I make plans and they are unfulfilled for some stupid reason.
you have an
Like
example of that.
like I had a friend. We were supposed to do. I don't talk to him anymore. He kept doing this, so I was like, "I,
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
dealing with this." Um, no, he like we would keep making plans to do stuff, and like it wouldn't be any big plans. It'd be like, "Hey, let's hop on this game and get this thing done," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd be waiting for him to get on, and then 30 minutes later, I get a text like, "Oh, never mind. I decided to do this instead."
All
It's
right.
like, well, I could have planned something else, and I just sat here doing nothing because I thought you were gonna be here,
Yeah.
and now I don't. So this time has now been wasted because I could have planned it for something else. It could have. Now the thing that we were gonna do is not gonna be done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a huge waste of time, and I
It's
don't like that.
selfish. It really is selfish. Yeah. You have any questions you like to ask me before we wrap this thing up?
Are we gonna get music content from you?
Music content?
Yeah.
Man, that's a good question. If you look at my vision board over there, if you look at the bottom, you see I will learn an instrument and I will master producing. So I do intend to make some music just as a hobby. Um my goal, I wanna fully make, mix and master a full song. That's one of my goals, just to mix, master, and make a full song. So
Will I have voice?
everything, um, instrument. I want to incorporate as much as I can, and I
Mm.
want to make a full song project that I just take my time on and really try to perfect. That'll make me really happy because I love music. I don't. I have no intention of making music a career,
Yeah.
but I enjoy music. Like music, you know how powerful music is, like how it makes you feel. So music is just so strong to me. So if I could make my own music, I'll be pretty proud of that. So I definitely am in the works for that.
Alrighty.
That's everything.
That's everything.
Well, thank you for joining me, Danny. Thank you for joining me
Yeah.
on today's episode, y'all. Do you want me to link anything in the description if you have a channel or Instagram or anything?
Um, I don't have any videos. You can link my YouTube.
All right, it'll be
see
linked in
if
the
I can
description.
see if I can get a couple free subscribers.
I'll go ahead and link that in the description for y'all below. Thank y'all for joining me for another episode. If there's any videos you'd like me to make personally or anything you want to get my insight on, go ahead and drop it in the comments down below or hit me up on my Instagram. It'll also be linked in the description. Everybody thank Danny for joining us in the comments, for giving us a great episode today. I'm going to see y'all when I see y'all. Peace out.